Hello and welcome to the Cardboard Dungeon. My name is Pat, and today we are looking at the Warband of Scorn Army Pack for BattleLore 2nd Edition from Fantasy Flight Games. Together with the Hernfar Guardians Army Pack, these expansions add new options for both factions out of the core game. Very cool stuff in both of them, well worth having for BattleLore fans. This expansion is going to give you new content for your Uthik Elan army. First up, it adds a new status effect to the game called Bleeding. A couple of their units can do this, and a Bleeding unit rolls one fewer combat die, and it can be removed when you order the unit by spending 2 lore. You also get 2 10-point victory point tokens and 2 3-value wound markers, and a faction banner. The faction banner is used by some scenarios. You place it on the board as shown in the scenario, and then if you can claim that hex, it's worth 1 victory point to you. You get a new type of terrain, 2 tiles of this. They're called Blood Field. If you get a friendly unit onto a Blood Field hex, it's going to heal itself 1 health at the start of your turn. And then you also get 2 of the Barricade terrain, which also come in the Hernfar Guardians army pack. And this is cool because it lets you deploy it after you see the full deployment. So you can use it as a reactionary defensive measure. Units that move into a barricade hex must stop or take 1 damage if they want to continue moving. Okay, you're also going to get 5 brand new scenario cards. These are ways to set up the board. They show you where your victory points are. They show you all the terrain placement and give you special victory point conditions. Good to have more of those. And you get a brand new 20-card lore deck. Now, this is about half and half old cards and new cards. The new cards mostly work with the new units. But what's cool about this is that at the start of the game now, you choose one of the 2 lore decks. And then you can do a little bit of customization by swapping out up to 5 cards, with the only stipulation being that you cannot have more than 2 copies of the same card in the deck. So it's a good way to get rid of cards that only work with units that maybe you don't have in your army, put in favorite cards from the other deck. But customization is always good, and it's definitely going to keep your lore deck options fresh for quite a while. Okay, let's look at the units that you get with the expansion. Now, first up, you're going to get 3 more units of Blood Harvesters. These are the base melee units for the Uthik army, and you got 5 of these in the core game. They're exactly the same. So now you have more of them. I'm not sure you'll ever need to use this many, but never a bad thing to have them around. All right, the first brand new unit for the Uthik Elan are the Berserkers. You get 3 units of these guys. They cost 4 points. They have a speed of 2, an attack of 2, and 4 health. That 4 health is notable. This is the first unit in the game with 4 miniatures. Most of the other units have either 3 or 1. That means they take 4 hits before they die. They have a heroic ability called 1,000 Cuts, which can spend the heroic result on their attack rolls to cause 1 damage to an enemy unit adjacent to them. And they have an ability called Deranged that lets them re-roll a die in combat. So even though they have a low attack value of 2, those 2 abilities mean they've got a really good shot of dealing 2 damage when they attack. So don't underestimate these guys just because of a low attack value. I like them a lot, and they are inexpensive, so almost, but maybe not quite a replacement for the Blood Harvesters. I would mix them up a little bit just to have some options in your melee frontline guys. All right, next up we've got the Blood Sisters. These are the caster unit, a new type of unit in these expansion packs. Basically, they attack like ranged units, but they have the caster keyword, which is going to come into play with some of the lore cards. They have a speed of 2, an attack of 3 at ranges 1 to 3 and 3 health. They cost 5 points to put into your army. Their ability, Siphon, is a heroic ability. Spend a heroic result and recover 1 health to their unit if the target unit has suffered 1 or more damage. And then they have a lore ability called Blood Magic, where they can spend a lore result on their attack rolls to cause bleeding on a friendly unit that's not already bleeding within 2 hexes, to cause 1 damage to their target unit. So this is pretty cool. You might want to keep a couple of cheap expendable units nearby Blood Sisters so they don't have to bleed themselves and lower their attack value, but they can cause some extra free damage. Always good for ranged units because it's kind of hard to deal damage with ranged. On the D6s in this game, there's only 1 bullseye result on each of them, so it's not super uncommon to make a ranged roll with 3 dice and not get any hits. So it's good that they have a way to inflict extra damage or even any damage in some cases. Okay, next up they get a new elite unit called the Grotesque. These guys cost 6 points. You get 2 units of them in the expansion. They have a speed of 2, attack value of 3, and 3 health. Their Lacerate ability spends a heroic result to cause the bleeding effect on the target unit. But they also have a really cool and scary ability called Bone Blast. So when these guys force a target unit to retreat, instead of advancing into the abandoned hex, they can stand their ground and make a ranged attack with an attack value of 3 at ranges 1 to 2. So basically they get a free follow-up ranged attack after forcing their target to retreat on their melee attack. Very cool. I like it a lot. The Uthic aren't known for a lot of ranged attacks. They had one ranged unit in the base set. They got the Blood Sisters now, but it's nice that they have these elite guys that can do both. Hard-hitting melee plus a little bit of ranged option in certain situations. I like them a lot. And lastly, a new legend unit, the Doombringer. This is a giant beetle. He has a speed of 3, very notable because their other legend unit, the Chaos Lord, has a speed of 1. And most of the big guys on the Uthic side are pretty slow moving, so it's good to have a zippy legend that can move around the board pretty quickly. He has a attack value of 3, a little bit low for a legend, but he's got a way to do some extra damage we're going to see in a second here, and he's got 5 health. And he costs 8 points to put into your army. But he's got a heroic ability, spending a heroic result to devour a target unit. If it is infantry or cavalry, he does an additional damage. So this thing likes to eat people and horses, apparently. He has an ability called Immobilize, which means that non-legend enemy units adjacent to him cannot move during their move step. And he can burrow, which lets him ignore movement restrictions of hexes it moves into. So he can go right through forests and any other type of terrain that would normally hinder, such as the barricades, for example. He can also move through enemy units using this ability, pop up behind them, and if he gets retreat results, he's going to force them into his territory and closer to friendly units. So, pretty scary beast all around. That is the Warband of Scorn army pack for BattleLore. Lots of cool new options if you're an Uthic player. They definitely needed a fast legend unit. They needed some more ranged, and they got it. The blood fields are very cool. Nothing scarier in this game than a Chaos Lord standing on a hex that heals it every turn. You're just going to want to stay away from that thing, probably. But if you're a BattleLore player, excellent, excellent purchase. Basically refreshes the game. It's needed it. The game's been out since 2013. This is the first round of expansions for it, but there's a whole bunch coming up this year. It's going to be a great year. If you're into BattleLore, if you're not really into it, you're on the fence, you're thinking about it, this is a fantastic game. If you're looking for a 2-player war game, plays in about an hour or less, uses the command and colors system from games like Memoir and, BattleLore originally from Days of Wonder. This is quite changed. This is a 2nd edition. Command and Colors Ancients. It's a great strategic war game, quick playing system. It's been around for a while. Richard Borg, the original designer. If you've never played any of those games, they're definitely worth checking out if you're looking for a fast, semi-light war game to play. So BattleLore 2nd Edition, Warband of Scorn. Available now with lots of new cool stuff like reinforcement packs and a whole new faction, the Undead, coming out for BattleLore later on this year. So as always, thank you so much for watching the Cardboard Dungeon. You can now follow us on Facebook, and we're also on Twitter. So look us up on those 2 sites if you want to get more announcements and information out of us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.